Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today we'll be reacting to one of our dives. Actually, your dive, because I was there just for surface support. I had an ear infection at the time. However, I'm glad I had an ear infection because there's no way I would have fit through this thing.
I'm a little speechless because I want to word it carefully.
Yeah.
I would love to have had you in there, but I also, in good consciousness, I know what it took for me to go through there, and I weigh 139 pounds. That's going to set up the video, I think.
Yeah. And by the way, really quick so we can get to the video, we took inspiration for this dive from Jonathan Bird.
Would not have done it with Bird. He led the way. Jonathan, you led the path, man.
We reacted to his Shangri-La dive with Todd. And they did a great job. They shot this cave. We were mesmerized by it. You were like, when are we going? Mehdi, take me there. Well, Mehdi took you there. So Woody and Mehdi went diving in Shangri-La, which is the tightest cave in the Merritt Mill Pond in Mariana, Florida. And they filmed the whole thing. Both of you had mask-mounted cameras.
Yeah, the little paralens on our masks.
So people are going to get to see their perspective. Like, you know, whenever you see... You will have the dual camera action. It will say Woody or it will say Mehdi on the bottom left corner. You will see what they were seeing. So whatever you're seeing, that's what they saw.
Mehdi was typically in the first position, and I was typically, not 100% of the time, typically in the second position.
Yeah, he was leading the charge. So let's go ahead and get started and check out how you guys did.
Okay, so, you know, obviously at the very beginning, Gus, it's pretty open, and it's actually very beautiful. Like
it's clear.
It's clearer even than some of the other caves in that area. This line that he is tying off wasn't kind of important in this dive. I absolutely used it.
It was a lifeline.
In and out.
And the tie that you just saw Mehdi do, by the way, is called a secondary tie-off, which is near the entrance to the cavern, but not all the way on the open water. The open water ties the primary tie-off. He actually tied it into the pole where the boat was anchored to or tied to. And the secondary was near the entrance to the cavern. We do that in case there's swimmers or somebody, you know, an alligator bites it off or whatever. They buy off the primary. The secondary will be tied near the entrance, so even if you make your way to the secondary and then find the line floating away, you still are able to check that out. Look at this. Look at Mehdi doing this. Whoop. Okay. Flipping off the rock.
Look, that is amazing, and I've never done that, and I will always do that. Hey, look. Look at the pause. Look at the pause I'm about to do. Well, mine's not working. Listen, it's so clear. Doesn't that look like we're not underwater just in that moment? Besides the particles and the bubbles, unbelievably clear.
Yep.
But that changes. Look at that. Look at that clear.
At your volume.
Man, that is so beautiful right there.
It's just perfect visibility going in.
Incredible.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it's probably not going to be like that for long. All right, so Mehdi continues to do tie-offs along the way until he reaches the primary line on the cave, which in Florida, this is not globally, and I know some of you ask whether this is a global thing. In Florida, primary lines on caves are typically gold. They're gold color. We call it the gold line.
We are not wearing our rebreathers. We are wearing side mount open circuit. We did not feel, frankly, that we would have enough room to wear our rebreathers.
Right.
Even though our rebreathers are Sidewinder side mounted.
Yep. And Mehdi said that he tried this on a Sidewinder before and he didn't get too far.
There's no way we would be able to do it with a Sidewinder. I don't think, after what I went through with this. Both width and height. Even the little bit, Gus, of additional height of the canisters above the tank, you know, on the Sidewinder, that little bit.
That would have been a deal breaker.
I think so. I mean,
all right. So now, just to tell people what's happening, and this is Woody behind Mehdi. Mehdi has tied his line to the gold line, and now you move in to the gold line for exploration.
So we are never going to be off of the gold line in this cave. We're going to always have that line, in other words, within visibility or holding on to it. So I'm just checking his reel. Wow, this is what Mehdi saw?
That's right.
Like, I never got to see this.
There's a fish in there.
This is the first I'm seeing, like, the front view.
Super clear.
I never saw the inside of this cave. This is the first time because I'm behind Mehdi. So, wow.
So he's checking on you, and there you come. Very, very tight in there.
So you see how tight this area is? Just wait. This is the big portion. Okay, so he's starting to get into a very tight area.
Yeah.
This is where my visibility will be gone. Mehdi and I set up a communication system with our fins. So if Mehdi, for example, was stuck and needed me to pull him out, he would click his fins really, really fast. Like, get me out, get me out, get me out. Because there's no like, hey, are you okay with the lighter coming up next to him? And vice versa. I would have the same communication. If I saw his fins were still working, even with this limited viz, I left him alone. Wow, reliving this, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do it again.
And here's where he's at is the restriction where if you saw the Jonathan video, the Jonathan Burt and Todd video on this dive, this is the restriction where they turn around. They saw this is too tight. We were going to have to remove tanks. The tanks they were carrying were bigger than the ones Mehdi and Woody used for the dive, almost twice the size. And they were like, at this point, we're going to have to start taking tanks off. So they decided not to push. The guys decided to push through it, and you can see how tight it gets and how bad the visibility gets.
And can you tell that I'm trying to be way up high? Because
right.
I want to film Mehdi in front of me, but
I mean, look at it.
I'm going to lose viz big time. This is like the best viz I had. And I'm just staying up high so I can try to get him. It just kind of keeps getting narrower and narrower. And I remember being in there and pausing when I could see and saying, how am I going to get through that? Like,
I was blown away that you guys made it through that restriction. And not only is such a small restriction that these guys decided, we're going to turn around, which was the right decision, by the way, for them, is that you then went through that restriction blind. You're going through a restriction right now, and as you can see, nobody can see anything.
At this point, I couldn't see. I was holding that line, that main line that Gus pointed out, and I knew Mehdi was in front of me, and if I would move up too much, I could feel his fins. Look at his viz. This is what he saw.
Yeah.
There's the cave. I never saw it. It's beautiful in there. Wow, Mehdi, that looks nice. By the way, you have to pull along the bottom. Yeah. I don't want you to think we're violating cave rules. There is no room above you.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I had a little opening. I remember that. A little pop moments of viz that would open.
I love it. There's a cookie there. Cave cookie. Oh.
So this part,
sandwich between two rocks.
Yes. So this part there, do you see how you kind of have to go up and a little bit like up and down? You have to contour your body like an arc a little bit there to get through. And that may have been where they stopped. I can't remember. We went to the end of this main line. So we went as far as that line went, and that's where we turned. It's slow moving, man. I mean, Mehdi's doing a great job. You just got to slowly.
And I know that he's trying his best not to stir up silt or anything, but.
Well, his head is probably touching the ceiling or...
All right, so the guys have been gone now for about 10 minutes. And I can tell they're hard at work in there, and I'm going to show you why. So when we got here, the entrance to the cave, the water looked like this. Totally clear. Crystal clear. Yep. Perfectly fine. That's how it looked on the entrance to the cave. Now let me show you how it looks now, 10 minutes later.
No way. Oh, dude, that's awesome. You did. That's what it... Oh, my goodness. That was awesome. I did not know he did that.
All the silt blowing out.
Very cool, Gus. That was cool. Look at this. Do you understand I'm having to do that with my head being squeezed through there?
I think at this point, Maddie's telling you to back out or turn around or something.
I don't know if we're at that point yet.
I think you guys reached the end of the line.
Okay. Anytime you see, by the way, what looks like an angle, like a change the angle, that's me turning my head sideways so I can move. Do you understand?
Because you were squeezed,
my camera's like this, so I was squeezed, so I'd have to go like this. So now you're going to, it looks like the cave is turning, but I couldn't get my head through.
Wow. Yeah, you're pushing back.
And that was the only way, by the way, was to push slowly, because you can't turn around there. It's not wide enough.
Yeah.
It's not width, wide, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? Do you hear what sounded like some purging?
Yeah.
Both for Mehdi and I at times. I'll just describe it. Imagine my head face down, pushing against the bottom of the cave because the top is so tight. It's like pushing the purge button. That's what happened.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, the purge button is actually on the front of the regulator. So when the regulator's in your mouth, you have a purge button, which is basically to purge water out of the regulator so you can breathe. So if you take the regulator out of your mouth or it gets knocked out or whatever, when you put it back in, it's full of water. If you try to breathe, you will breathe water, basically. So we hit the purge button, gets rid of the water, and then you can breathe. So that's what Woody's saying. The ground was hitting the button against his face. The ceiling and the ground. Sandwich in your head.
There was the line you just saw go by. And I'm being quiet because I want you to hear me. Sometimes I'm like, ugh, because I'm like, I gotta work the ground to move.
Yeah. This is Mehdi.
So now he's second. So look at his viz. But we had already screwed it up going in. Now we're going to get to a point soon where we're going to stop. I'm in the front, and we had what's called a line trap. The line, if I just followed it, which I had to, takes me to a spot where I can't move. I'm wedged in. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, and watch how we work this out.
So, Woody, one of the things people that are watching this are thinking is, like, why do this? Like, why? This doesn't look enjoyable.
But it really is. See, I really enjoyed knowing that Mehdi knew this cave, that there was line already in this cave. We're not exploring. So I wanted to see, can we go through it? And we had done very significant planning beforehand. Mm-hmm. It was a blast. Even when I was in that stuck moment, I just kept remembering what Mike Young said. Every move you make after that, stay totally calm, and it must be deliberate. So if you're going to move your right hand, that had a purpose. Then stop and think. Because you can't panic at all. Because you could kill the guy behind you.
Yeah.
He can't get beyond you.
Yeah.
So just stay calm. But Gus, I loved it, everybody. Like, I truly loved that we were able to do it and use all of our skills. And we weren't going into an unknown passage. It's just very tight.
Very tight. the other question that we get a lot is, are you not afraid that the cave can collapse? Like, it's 2 slabs of rock, it could just sandwich you, right? And what do you do if that happened? I mean, I think that people really, I don't know if they take pleasure in this, but they like to kind of back us into a corner. Like if we would have a hard time accepting that, look, if the cave decides to collapse that day, then we die. I mean, it is what it is. It's like if you're going over a bridge and that day the bridge collapses and you plummet to your death and die. It is what it is.
Skydivers, right, pulled the parachute. That was the day that both of them didn't work.
Yeah.
So there are risks. We can't sit here and say to anybody, we're not risk takers. We are. This is an adventurous, risky activity, but we seriously went through a lot of training, and we were with a true expert. I didn't go in there by myself.
Right. And also, again, these caves have been through floods and dry seasons and earthquakes. And, I mean, these caves have been here for thousands of years, right? In order for these caves to form, it's water making these holes inside the earth. So, yeah, no, you're not going to have, like, a small earthquake and this cave is going to collapse. That's not how this works.
Now this is the spot where I get stuck. You saw Mehdi just picked up his cookie. We're back at his line. So I'm following his line. The problem is his line is going to have to make a sharp left. But I can't get to that left. I'm too wide out to the right. So you can't just follow the line. It's a line trap. So at some point I'm going to get stuck, which is probably like right now. Look, not really moving.
And if you notice, you're using your heel against the ceiling to push.
And Gus, I got to the point where I just couldn't move anymore, so I had to think about what to do and why am I stuck when I'm following the line. And that's when I decided I'm going to back out and ask Mehdi, where do I go?
What do I do? Yeah, this is the part that I think most people are afraid of, is to be between rock and so stuck that you're like, I don't know what to do.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
But I always had a little bit of movement. I'm trying to see if I can hear my... Here we go. I'm working it, man. You got to work it.
Yeah. Working out. But you can even hear on Woody's breathing that he's not panicking. He's not hyperventilating. Oh my God, what's that? Just
take it easy, like you said. This is a sideways turn of my head, or I would be not able to get my head through. That's why it's angled. I was having to wedge out with my head turned.
Yeah.
That's me on the line, like I'm not letting... I want that line. I remember that there.
Sometimes we do get the question, what happens if the line snaps? Is not very common. The lines are made of nylon, and it's pretty thick nylon. It's not climbing rope. It's not that thick, but it's pretty thick. And you actually learn how to repair line on your cave diving class. So if you snap it, you can repair it.
Okay, so I back out.
And put some volume on that.
I'm like, 1 second.
Let me go. Yeah. You're like, yeah, go. Because the other funny thing was clearing your mask, right? You can't look up to clear it.
So I was just like, Maddie, I know you need me. Just give me, I just wedged myself 1 second. Let me get my mask uncleared. And then, absolutely, yes, you go through. Because I needed to know where is the left turn.
Right.
So I don't get line trapped. So we communicated really well together.
The line, it's over there. That's the signal for line, by the way. 2 fingers like that.
So I move far over to the right as I can, so he can pass.
So if you want to tell somebody to reel the line, you do this. Reel the line. Or if you want to ask somebody where's the line, you use your finger like this. Question mark, where is the line? That's how we communicate in a cave. Or where is Woody? Number 3. Or number 2, or whatever position he has in the cave. In the cave diving team.
I love that you went back and forth with the cameras. And Gus did that in the editing because it really tells the story. I'm waiting way over there.
Man, that whole time stuck. You're like, here's my reel. Exit is that way. You're like, all right, good job. Nice dive. You're like, you want to go or no? There's another portion. And you're like, I'm down to 2,000. So you're telling him, I'm down to 2,000 PSI. He's like, I'm going to pick up their line. You go. And you said, okay, with the light.
Exactly.
That's all cave communication.
Good job, Gut. Exactly.
And people are like, why don't you guys use full face masks? If you guys were using full face masks in this cave,
we would have stopped it earlier than
this would have been a 3-minute dive. And second, you see that they can have a whole conversation without having to talk to each other in words. By the way, they're on open circuit, but when we're diving the rebreather, we can talk more. On the rebreather, it's a lot easier to communicate full words. So we don't need radios or anything like that.
So here you can start to see the light. So we're moving into the cavern zone. You see the light up above there. So we're basically in the big area again.
Yeah, you're back in the cavern.
But there's more to come. It's not over yet. Wow, I'm just wondering, do I want to do this again? Like, I want to do it again if somebody else can experience it with me because I want them to see it. But it's not like I have this burning desire. Like, we did it. It's cool. It's the smallest cave by far that I've ever done and maybe that I ever will do.
Yeah. And when people think about cave diving, in most cases, they're thinking about stuff like this, where you're wedging yourself in through the tightest things. Not all caves are like that. As a matter of fact, most caves are pretty open. And yeah, some caves will have some restrictions, and then you go through them and they open up again into a bigger room. So it's a lot more enjoyable when you can be on a big cave, especially if we can use our scooters, our DPV, diver propulsion vehicles, because you have that thing that is swimming for you, right? You're just enjoying the cave and just hanging on to it.
Definitely.
There's Maddie's line. There's the light.
So at this point, I'm going to be a good buddy. I'm going to untie the ties for him, and I'm going to take the slack out of the line so it's easier for Mehdi to reel it. But he's right on me. Like you see, I don't have to do it for long. Mehdi's a very fast. I'm like, oh, you're already here. So
So on a cave diving team, I mentioned this before, everybody has kind of like a responsibility. The lead diver, the primary guy, is the lineman. So he puts the line in and also is the last person out. First one in, last one out, has to deal with the line. The second one helps with the line and confirms the lines are tied correctly and all of that.
And you'll see here, I'm looking underwater. Mehdi's, I don't know, he's 5 seconds behind me. And this is where you ended it.
Yeah.
But this isn't the end of the story totally.
This isn't the end of everything that happened at Shangri-La. There's a couple more smaller dives that you guys did, searching for leads and different things. Apparently, there is another exit at Shangri-La. If you take some little tunnels, you can go up to the surface.
I don't think we're getting out of that exit, though.
Somewhere else.
With tanks on.
Yeah, but this was the main dive at Shangri-La. It was about 20 minutes long, and I wanted to show you guys that. However, we will have the entire experience of Shangri-La. There's a lot of footage that we recorded outside the water too, where we were just talking, we were on the boat, or even before, like when we were at Cave Adventures, like setting up the tanks and all that stuff. There's a lot more footage. So there's an extended version of Shangri-La, of this whole trip, which is available to members. So for those of you who are members, go to the members only playlist, and there's an extended version of Shangri-La where you can enjoy this thing. And those of you who are not members yet, please consider becoming a member. Memberships start at $3 a month, and really help us go on these trips and record more content. And again, our plan is to not only release extended versions of these videos for members, but also make them ad-free. So if you watch the member-only videos, there's no ads, are not monetized whatsoever, so you can watch the whole thing without interruptions, which is pretty cool. So consider becoming a member today. All you have to do is click the join button right below, pick a membership level. They all come with different perks and stuff. But all of the memberships level include access to all the members only content. Even the one we've released before you became a member, you'll have access to everything. But that was a great dive.
It was
super tight. Interesting.
I'm happy I did it. Right now, sitting here, I feel good that I did it. I feel very good that I did it with Mehdi.
But not better than you felt when you got out of that thing.
I mean, I felt... I'm not going to lie. I remember when we got back to the exit on this one, there was a sense of, okay, whew, that was another level. You know what I mean? I'm really glad I had Mehdi, and that he, with his experience and his prior diving of this cave. And again, Jonathan, if you're listening, you gave me the confidence to go. You did it first. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm kind of a smaller guy. I can do it. And you sort of described, well, you need a really low profile. And that's when Mehdi and I decided to go open circuit. So a lot of thought went into it. And I'm really happy I did it, I have to tell you.
Absolutely. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. Shangri-La was, what, our 4th cave, right? Out of 7.
Of this trip.
That are on the Merritt Mill Pond.
Yes.
But there are some other caves that are also, they have some tight passages, although not as tight as Shangri-La. Like, for example, we did a dive, and this one we did together a couple of weeks before we went back to Shangri-La, where we went to Twin Caves. Pretty awesome dive. My favorite cave dive of all time.
It's beautiful. Because
it was, you know, technical in the sense of big passages, small, you know, impossible not to silt out. It was like a combination of everything. There was DPV, there was swimming. It was an entire experience, our Twin Caves dive. And in case you haven't seen it, I'm going to leave it right here. You guys can enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.